The Close Traffic Podcast, an aviation and flight simulation show. Welcome aboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Close Traffic Podcast, an aviation and flight simulation show. I'm Johnny, and along with me, my very, very, very special friend of mine and co-host, Charlie. Charlie, say hello to the people, man.
People, what's up? Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's doing well. Getting the rain they need, getting the heat they need. Man, it's cold here in Georgia today.
Yeah, it's got a little chilly over here too, man. I ain't gonna lie. We got a little rain yesterday. Like when I got drug out to this freaking Christmas parade, and
dang.
Yeah, man, and it was great, but it was like, it's like the whole day, was kind of gray, it's kind of cloudy or whatever, broken or whatever, and then all of a sudden
got that winter
raining.
Look.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it started raining, and like right when Santa's about to come, so it's like everybody's like,
man,
everybody's all ticked off or whatever. But aside from that, man, it was pretty good, man. What'd you get into the weekend?
Not much, nothing.
How was your Thanksgiving, by the way, man? I straight up forgot that was Thanksgiving like a couple of days ago.
It was good, man. It's just nonchalant around here. Just me and the girls, and that was about it. We just ate around lunchtime and hung out. I had to work Friday, so I didn't do a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Don't blame you at all. But speaking of which, man, I want to bring in another special guest. Actually, I say guest. I guess like a return guest because I think he was like our second.
Was that your second? Really?
Yeah, like it wasn't. You weren't either the first or the second. As it's horrible. Like I should totally remember these things, but I don't. I'm sorry. But anywho, our guest speaker here is Spur. Spur, say hello to people.
What's up? How's everyone doing?
Oh man,
good man. Good.
Gosh, man, it seems like just yesterday that we did that.
Yeah, because it was like 2020, 2019, something like that.
I had to be 20. Yeah, man, it had to be a while ago.
2020, maybe. Yeah.
That's like you had just started your channel, man. And speaking of which, Spur is a content creator and a content creator in multiple facets. I mean, planes, trains, and automobiles, literally, you name it.
Right.
So
anything simulation related, pretty much.
That's it.
Absolutely. So that's amazing channel. Definitely check him out there. We'll post his info in the description. But I mean, you're knocking on 7,000 subscribers, got 561 videos, 1.1 million views on your channel, man.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's right. It's hard to wrap my head around sometimes. Like, because starting out, I obsessed over the numbers so much starting out. And as time went by, I've obsessed. I haven't paid as much attention to the numbers as I used to, So when you tell me those numbers, I'm like, wow, man. It's kind of it's hard to wrap your head around sometimes. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, man. It's I don't know. And doing a little content creation as well, it's easy to kind of get wrapped up into the numbers, but I mean, when you're putting out quality content, I mean, really everything kind of falls in line after that. And I mean, you've done amazing work. Watch your stuff every day, and definitely looking forward to diving a little more into that. But before we get into that, Spur, how was your Thanksgiving, man? I saw some pics there, man. It looked pretty. I didn't get a plate or anything, I was going to bring a
foil. You're just down the road from me a little bit, dude. So you could have come up and had some. Yeah, we did Thanksgiving. We do the last few years we've done what we call Steaksgiving. So we've done turkey for so many years that we just started grilling steaks. Like my girls, all of them love steak. It's one of the few things that like every single one of them will eat consistently.
I know that feeling.
You know, yeah, without having to fix like 50 bazillion different things to appease all of them. So we just started doing Steaksgiving. Like we'll have steak, and we had a dressing and mashed potatoes and cranberry sauce and you know, the usual things, just with a steak, just with a grilled steak. And it was a beautiful day that day. It was like 70 degrees outside, you know, so you know, it was absolutely amazing. So really good.
That's awesome.
Too cool. Miss Spur says he grills the bit. I bet he does. I was looking at the pictures. I was like, man, I was going to just go up there and knock on the door, and you know, just like that random relative or whatever, it just comes out of nowhere, you know.
right. Dude, we had steaks left over. Like we finally finished them off. Yeah, I think I grilled 7. I think I grilled 7 steaks. So.
Oh man,
that's awesome.
They were really good.
I'm still recovering.
And I think I want a steak now.
Right, I do. I was like, we had steaks, and then we had apple pie, and we had chocolate pie, and we had some good stuff.
Man. Speaking of Thanksgiving, and not sure how that segued into Mike, but Mike, just see, so you dropped in, man. Say hello to people, bro.
What's going
on, dude?
Spur. It's been a while, man.
It's been a long time, man. Yeah, it sure has. How you doing?
A long time. I've seen you. I don't know if you've seen me, but good to see you. Good to be here. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and don't mind me, man. I'm listening in.
Cool, sweet. But again, you know, I definitely want to thank Spur for swinging in, and I want to recap of the past couple of years. Before we get into that, I definitely want to touch on a little news, some goings on in the flight sim world. I think probably the biggest one is, what was the biggest one? We touched the 500. Oh yeah, so SWS, it's like they finally announced the date for the Pilatus PC12. Looking forward to that one. I think December 6th, I believe, is the date, Charlie, that they mentioned on that one.
Yeah, I believe it was the 6th. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, I think December 6th, and a lot of Black Friday happening. So I say a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you, fellas. It's been kind of, well, in my opinion, it's been kind of dry. I really hadn't seen anything that's really worth noting in that regard. Aside from just the ridiculous low prices on freaking memory. So
Johnny's bought some memory.
Oh my gosh, man. I couldn't help it. I've been eyeing the Samsung 2 terabyte for like months. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna do it. Because you know, I mean, when they first dropped, they were like 250, 300.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
Yeah, that's what I originally put one of those in my PC when I built it, and they were way pricier then than they are now.
Really?
Yeah.
Heck, the cheapest one I've got in mine, I think I paid a couple of years ago. It was like $175, and it's
really.
Yeah, I think it's a 1 terabyte.
Oh my god!
Johnny's hogging up all the memory, man.
I'm telling you,
man, I'm like straight hoarding all the memory. No, because I've been going with mechanical drives for so long. You guys had all went to solid state, and your fangled, you know, high throughput rates with your fast loading sims and stuff. And here I am, guys. Like, we'll do a group flight, and it never fails. I'm the last one because it's like, all right, guys, everybody's loaded in. And you know, freaking check ride Mike over there, he's got the flight plan loaded and ready to go. He's like, you know,
in gaming is getting to the point where you got to have an SSD.
Like,
you really,
it's true.
You really do. Yeah, it's like DCS. You forget about running DCS on a regular HD. Like, you know, it needs to be an SSD.
Gotta have an SSD for sure. Yeah, because I did the migration. I put 2020 on. It was on a Samsung 970. I moved it to the 990, and I think that transfer happened in like 20 minutes. And it's like, I think at this point now, it's about 400 or 500 gigs. And
really?
it happened, and it transferred in about 20 minutes. My OS, I moved it to a 1 terabyte. I think I did that in about 30 minutes. And I mean, that's just complete cloning. I mean, it used to take hours.
Oh yeah.
You know,
no doubt.
make images or whatever. But aside from that, I mean, that's really been it. I mean, what else on the sales? I think I picked up. I know at the xplain.org had had some Black Friday specials going on. I think I picked up like the
Is that where
Epic 1000.
I was about to say, is that... Go ahead, Mike.
You go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, is that the only thing you picked up?
Yeah, wasn't it, guys? Or did I pick up something else? I don't know. I think that was it.
You had the other stuff like the week before.
Yeah.
I saw the Epic screenshot running out the door this morning. I'm like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah. I was like $20. Gonna help myself, man.
Is it really
Then freaking, huh?
Was it really that little from Airbus?
Yeah, $20, man. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, I had to jump on that DCS stuff.
Oh man, we're gonna get to that for sure. Yeah.
Did they have some good sales too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
40% off. You can't beat that. Not with the price of their stuff. Like it's really pricey.
Wow.
Yeah, their modules are super pricey. I think I've been eyeing Syria for a while. I think I might have to pick that one up. But I think all the like as far as fighters, like the modules, man, I'm pretty much set. Because I would like wait for a sale. And I'll tell you something else, Spur, as well. Have you noticed that, like the ED loyalty points or whatever that they used to have? So Eagle Dynamics had a loyalty program, and you got points for the modules you'll purchase. And so let's say, for example, I wanted to buy the Tomcat. Well, you can take some of your points and apply your points to the purchase and take some off your Tomcat. Well, a lot of developers have been opting out for that ability to purchase their modules now. So now there's very few add-ons for DCS you can actually use your loyalty points on. So it's kind of like, what's the point?
What's the point of it?
Yeah, I think Heat Blur was one of the ones that backed out of that deal. And it's kind of a bummer. But I mean, heck, I think you picked up the F-16, I believe.
Yeah, I got that yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. Picked up
that's what regular $80-something, right? $80.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Their modules aren't cheap, but then they're like all. They're just. It's very unique to the industry because, you'll spend $70 for something in X-Plane or 2020, and it might be half done, it might not, but for the most part, there are some modules out there that's early access, but for the most part, you can function fairly well, even in some of their modules that's early access.
Yeah, exactly. You can do the basics.
Yeah, you can do the basics. Definitely a lot more fleshed out.
Hey, Eddie Bills had. First of all, how's my mic?
There you go.
You're a lot better now, man. Sounds like you're using your headset mic.
It was for whatever reason picking up the audio from the webcam. Shout out to our producers in the background. They let me know. Anyway, we don't have a team of producers anyway, guys. Just make it fun. Any Bills had a really good set of sales too for their scenery. Did you guys catch that? I'm talking stuff that was like $30, $35.
Oh well, I picked all the scenery up I wanted.
And we've had those already. I know, but I think it was LAX.
Oh, that USA pack, I think.
Yeah, with about 3 airports that were almost 3 airports for the price of one when they initially launched about a couple of months ago. So if you missed that, sorry. But I think that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, because LAX itself was like what, 26, 27
exactly.
Yeah.
You got LAX. I'll find the other two.
Did it expire already or is it still up?
You know what? It might still be there.
It might still be up if you're watching. If you're one of those.
Listen, and it's not like these. Usually, when you see sceneries go on sale for like Black Friday or whatever it is, it's older scenery or stuff that's been out for quite some time. They rarely discount, a ton of new scenery like this. Yeah, it doesn't like it's here anymore. LAX was one of them, and to your point, it was about $25 when it first launched. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, especially like for Harrisburg. They had a lot of just really nice, just run of the mill airports that's that were definitely worth picking up. And speaking of sceneries, while we're on that one, I don't know if you guys saw the screenshot that Dominic Design Group dropped here earlier today. So they released a screenshot, and I don't even have Facebook up to even pull it up because I'm like just that out of it. Like, yeah. they released a screenshot. It kind of bugs me when scenery designers do this. What airport is this? And it's like it's like a picture of a gate.
yeah.
I'm like, what do you want from
I have
me?
Zero clue, right? Yeah, I don't know. If it's not Atlanta or LAX or Kennedy, you may as well just forget about me. I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah, so they announced it's going to be Charleston. So they got Charleston coming down the pipeline.
Really?
Yeah.
2020 is rounding out the USA sceneries, man.
Yeah.
Charleston could be cool because that's a joint Air Force base too.
Yeah,
right?
man. That's where the C5s are.
Yeah,
isn't it?
C7, yeah, C17s and that kind of stuff. There, like tons of
big Boeing plant and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely gonna be pretty sweet there. But again, unless I missed it, fellas, I mean, that was pretty much all I saw as far as like, yeah, Black Friday, yeah, everybody's, but like even Black Friday outside of itself, it's kind of dry. We went to grab something or whatever, and like the stores were kind of like just normal, really wasn't much.
Yeah. Heck, Carla went and bought groceries. I was like, it wasn't busy. Where are you thinking? She's like, no, it was like a normal day. I was like, really?
Yeah, like nobody was like, coming off the top turnbuckle for a video.
TDT.
Yeah.
Black Friday doesn't have the hype it used to have.
Stone Cold Steve Austin for the top rope.
Get my $20 Vizio.
That's it.
It's not nearly as hyped up as it used to be. It doesn't seem like.
No,
not at all.
I think people are a lot brokered too. Like they don't have the money to
exactly.
That's what I told these guys.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say that's what I told these guys. I think it's just a sign of the times, sign of the economy, and just in general where folks find themselves today.
People budgeting like crazy now, like on all sorts of things.
You have to.
Yep.
I saw somebody post the other day, Black Friday, these groceries.
That's exactly right, man.
I tell you, bro.
It'd be a mad rush on bread and milk.
I debated my F-16 for like days and days and days on DCS, even at 40% off. I debated it for a while. I was like, man, I just I could spend that money on something else, but I really want the airplane too. So
Yep.
And I can't help but wonder, how sensitive the developers are to that, to the economy and as far as the consumers and pricing their products accordingly to the best within the constraints of what the project will allow as far as budget wise. You know what I'm saying? Are there being
it was like the Mud Hen. The Mud Hen's cheaper than what I thought it would have been.
Yeah,
I was expecting it to be more. What is it, $64? Something like that.
$64. Yeah,
I was expecting it to be an $80 airplane.
The F-15 Eagle /
Oh, got it.
Yep. So yeah, no, it was. I was kind of really surprised to see, and it's a solid module. It's freaking amazing. But yeah, that F-16 is definitely worth a pickup if you guys haven't checked it out. But we'll dive into that here in just a minute. But yeah, as far as everything else news wise, Flight Sim Studio released the Tectum P2012. Pretty dang solid airplane, not gonna lie. I've noticed a lot of aircraft flight modeling wise are definitely getting better, definitely trending, more, a little less twitchy, less cartoony. Yeah. So that's definitely a positive trend to see. And aside from that, it's really has been business as usual. One thing me and Charlie did see, Militech, which I don't know, Spur, you might pique your interest as well. Militech Simulation shares, let's see, CH-47 Chinook previews and features.
Yeah, I've been watching that one. I've been keeping my eye on it.
Really? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that one looks pretty dang solid. So, looking forward to that one as well.
And it's the fastest helicopter you can fly too, right?
Yep.
Doesn't it have the highest top end speed of? Yeah.
Yep. Fastest. I know for sure. As far as the Army, it's the fastest one the Army has for sure.
Yeah. So you can get from point A to point B really quick, a lot quicker than some of the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what always blows me away about DCS. Not that I fly it. I live vicariously through you all, but the level of detail on these aircrafts is just amazing. And I don't know what sort of back end code or technology is used in this simulator, but they are certainly ahead of the game, I think, as it relates to texture and modeling for a lot of these aircrafts. We know, obviously, right? The inner workings of the aircrafts themselves are probably the most realistic simulated versions that you can get for a desktop simulator. But beyond that, I think that the modeling and the textures they've always been amazing to me on DCS. Even before we knew what a 2020 was that you can compare it to, they were just always far ahead of the other simulators out there.
Yeah, and I'd love to get a DCS developer on and ask them. I mean, is it the engine? Is it all engine that we're looking at, or is just a different breed of developer that who invest their time into bringing a military aircraft? I mean, because some of these guys take they take a few risks. There was one guy, I think he got arrested for snagging he got his hands on some F-16 manuals.
You're they're kind of floating on the edge of what they can and can't, and that's why you don't see some of these aircraft you don't see available, because they can't get the information that they need to do it.
To do it. Yep.
Yeah. Like you won't see an F-35. You won't see an F-20. Like you won't see a high fidelity version of that for a long time.
Yeah. So that's a lot of the reason why you see a lot of the older iterations, like the older blocks of the F-16.
That makes sense. I wondered why I never would have thought of that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, just freaking getting your hands on some of the materials. But I mean, me personally, I'm totally cool with what's available now. I mean, even with what's available now, the technology they had, I'm sure the tech we're dealing with was probably like what do you think, Spur? Maybe 90s or early 2000s tech.
Yeah,
and it's already mind blowing. So just Lord knows what they have now.
That's the crazy part is what do they actually have now?
Exactly.
20 years later.
Well, I read an AMA this Warthog pilot did on Reddit, and they were talking comparisons between the DCS Warthog and what he was currently flying, and he was basically like, oh, I can do a lot more now. Than what you could do in the DCS Warthog.
Really?
It was almost like child's play to him. Yeah, like we can do more now. Yeah, and I'm pretty amazed, like with the helmet mounted display and stuff in the Warthog, like all the different things you can see and all the different like data that's pointed out to you on the ground, that you can see. It just blows me away. I'm like, man, they could potentially have more than that, and we don't even know about it.
No idea. No idea. It's crazy. But Spur, man, I know we kind of covered your origins back in our first interview, but could you provide us just like a brief recap, man? What started Spur Gaming? How did you just say, you know what, I'm going to divest. Man, I'll talk eventually, guys. I'm going to invest my time into building this brand.
Well, for me, it started during COVID. Everyone was home, and no one had much of anything to do. And for us, it was a little different because Mrs. Spur was working in a hospital, dealing with COVID patients. So it was a little tense for us at that time because I felt like we had more of an exposure to it than what a lot of people that just just stayed at home and kind of wrote it out, So we started doing that as basically like a distraction, just something to entertain us and something to kind of interact with people, because you couldn't interact with people then, like everyone was staying at home and not doing anything. So it was really just kind of a fluke, I said, oh, well, we play games all the time. Why don't we record them and post them? Because we've been gaming for years and years and years, So my first flight sim was back in 1987. It was the very first one I ever got. Yeah. So I was like, I had it. And a lot of it was like, at that point, I had the ability to be able to do it too, because at that point, I never really had a computer that you could like play these higher ended games and
Right.
record and do all this stuff too. Like you had like people back in the day, like in early 2000s, I remember people using Fraps,
Oh yeah.
to record their games and stuff. I couldn't even use Fraps. Like I couldn't even record with that. I was doing good just to run the game, let alone record it too, and so it kind of
Wow.
evolved from there. It really was just kind of a fluke. It's like one day we said, let's just record it and post it on YouTube and see what happens.
Wow, that's insane. No, and to your point, Spur, I think a lot of content creators kind of got their beginnings during COVID.
Oh yeah, I did.
I know. I mean, it was just nuts, man. Because I know myself in particular. I worked for a healthcare automation company, so we were still a little busy, but most of my work was from home. But just for I had extra time. It's like, man, let me fire up a. I streamed a little bit here and there even prior to that, but it was just like, man, it was heavy. I'm talking about there was Monday through Friday. It was stream after stream. I'm sure these guys would attest to it.
Yeah.
And it would, oh my gosh, man, you wake up, somebody's streaming,
Oh yeah, there was a huge explosion in it. Yeah, a huge explosion in content creation. I really feel like YouTube kind of changed with COVID. I think it opened it up to a lot of people that probably wouldn't, like me, like myself, that wouldn't have gotten involved with it if COVID hadn't kind of pushed you in that direction,
For sure.
Shoot,
Yeah,
man, that's how we got started, right? I mean,
yeah.
Heck, that's how the four of us, right, plus some others,
met, yeah.
right? It was
around
that time. So it's definitely created some unique opportunities and be able to build relationships. And it was, listen, for the time that it was, obviously no one would ever you want to see that again, but it created opportunities, and there were some things that came out of that.
I think it helped. It helped a lot of people too. Like it helped give people contact and interaction with people that were having a really hard time.
Yep.
At that point, it gave them an outlet. So
exactly right.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I and it's kind of sad to say, but I know for me, as awesome as it was to be able to congregate and gather around, a common hobby, a common passion, part of me was like, man, I'm a little tired of seeing just, hey guys, welcome to blah, blah, blah. We're about to go from, wherever to wherever. We'll depart, play some music, hit AP1 and send it. And it was great for a minute, but then it's like, man, but then, all of a sudden it's like, bam, here's Spur, he's playing, into the Flames. He's getting into DCS. He's getting into, I was like, man, this is pretty cool. And then
Mud Runner.
Yeah, Mud Runner.
Mud Runner.
Yeah. Remember we did the Bigfoot game.
Bigfoot game.
Yeah.
Finding Bigfoot or whatever that was called. Yeah, we dabbled in all kinds of things, like tons and tons of things over the years. Part of that's probably because it's really hard for something to hold my attention. I lose focus really quick. I don't know why. I don't know if it's ADD or what, but it's really, and I feel like it's hurt me. Like in some aspects, it's hurt you because, the way you get found on YouTube is you find a niche and you kind of push it and you push it and push it and you start building an audience for that. And at least for me, with my experience, anytime I pivot the content to something else, the channel always takes a hit. It always takes a hit. It never fails, and it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I've got to play what I enjoy and what keeps me interested and happy, or else I'm not going to enjoy it anymore.
Exactly right.
I look at people like content creators like Fly Daily. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's one of the big War Thunder content creators.
Okay.
And he's done, I don't know if he still does now because I haven't watched Fly in a long time, but there was like literally years and years and years that he did nothing but War Thunder content.
Wow.
And I couldn't do that,
No,
it'd
get old.
Yeah, it would. It would get old and it would get stale, and so I've always been a variety gamer. I've always played tons of different games since day one. You know, I think a lot of people like the firefighting stuff's what really got things rolling.
Sure.
On the channel. People love the firefighting.
That's right. Stuff. I remember that. Yeah.
Right. But you can only put water on a fire so many times before it kind of gets to be repetitive, right? Like it's the same thing. You roll to the scene in the fire truck, you jump out, you put water on it, you get back in, you go back to the station, you know, and you know, if you're not being if the developer isn't giving you a lot of new fires and things to respond to, it can get stale really quick, you know. So I did a ton of firefighting that did really well for the channel. I don't know what it was about firefighting that really helped the channel. Like I got some huge boosts from firefighting.
Really? It's that niche, man.
There's been such a niche, and there's no one streaming it. Yeah,
and I guess also like just the term emergency just grabs people for some reason. You know, emergencies and fires and stuff. It just grabs their attention. You know, but. So I did a ton of firefighting. I've done the flight sim stuff, but I think a lot of people, and I use this to trip up my audience once in a while. I did a poll back several months ago, and I put some games on, and I said, which game does Spur have the most time in of all games that I've ever played, right? And it was like Emerge NYC, Microsoft Flight Simulator, I can't remember what the third one was. And then the fourth one was World of Warcraft. I think one person voted World of Warcraft, but actually WoW is the game that I've got more time invested in. Yeah, more time invested in that game than any other game that I've ever played. And I think I probably, like, looking at my channel, you would never guess that.
I would have had no clue.
Yeah, you would have never.
I got it wrong because I voted in the poll, and I'm like, wait, what?
Did you vote up? Really? Did you vote?
Wow. Completely got that wrong.
Yeah.
Mr. Spur. Mr. Spur says the first gaming content post Rim World with horrible mics. He's coming a long way there.
Oh god, they were so bad.
And you know what, Spur? I mean, we just gotta give a shout out to Mr. Spur because we're all married, right? I mean, we just gotta we gotta give credit where credit's due. Let us come in here and freaking play games for
hours on
end. She has supported me 110%, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do like what I do. She loved, but you know, but like the crazy thing is like gaming has been a huge part of our marriage from the get-go anyway.
Wow.
You know, from day one, we've done a lot of gaming together. Even way back in 2002, I'll never forget it. I was working for the railroad and I was going all the time, you know, and never at home. And Mrs. Spur was at the house bored and she's wanting something to do. And we went to Walmart, the old school Walmart. I'm not talking about the super brown Walmart. I'm talking about the old school Walmart back in 2002.
Wow.
And we walked by the electronics section, you know, and they had a little display on the corner of an aisle of Star Wars Galaxies. And it was an MMO, a Star Wars themed MMO. And I was like, you should play that. Yeah, I think because there was like 40 different professions that you could be in this game. And I was like, you should play it. You would enjoy this. She's like, she'd never even seen Star Wars at that point. She didn't know anything about it, you know? And so anyway, we went home and researched it, and like you could be a dancer in the game. You could be a doctor. You could be an entertainer. Like you could do all these different things, you know, and that hooked her. And so, you know, we started playing Star Wars Galaxies when we had one PC. We would divide up our time. One person would get on the PC and play it for a little while, and then their turn would be up in the next person, you know, and I would sit there beside her with the manual. You know, it had an actual manual that came with the game that was like that thick.
Whoa.
You know, y'all remember those days.
Yeah. I used to love those, man. It was amazing toilet reading. Whoops, did I say that?
Right. Exactly, yeah. So, you know, it started very early on for us. You know, we started playing. We played Star Wars Galaxy so much we would stay up till 2 a.m., 2 and 3 a.m. playing Star Wars Galaxies.
Man,
play it until we were starving, then fix spaghetti at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and then get a little sleep, and then play Star Wars Galaxies some more. Like it's just, you know, our life kind of revolved around gaming. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I got to go back again to like quote unquote COVID days. those were the highlights here in this household on those Saturday nights when the two of you would play.
Oh man,
Farm
Simulator, yes.
Mud Runner, and Bigfoot, especially Bigfoot, man.
Bigfoot was so anticlimactic though. You remember he bugged out. He bugged out, and I killed him because he glitched, and I killed him by like stabbing him in the butt 100 times.
Yeah, stabbing him in
the butt. Yeah, I saw that. I put up a TikTok a long time. That was like one of the first TikToks that I ever put up was a clip of that, and it came up today. I completely forgot about that, doing that, and I saw
that was hilarious. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. I miss the streaming. I want to get back into streaming. I really do. I've said it 100 times, but streaming is like a whole different beast in itself.
Job, man.
It is.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. And that's I guess that was kind of a question I had for you, Spur, especially for a lot of young content creators out there. I mean, and we all know there's a secret algorithm running in the background to that, Google uses to, leverage what gets layered on top of what. But what would be your recommendation for a young content creator, just trying to get out there and get his or her feet wet?
Well, first and foremost, I would say do something that you enjoy. I would say, I said earlier, I try not to stress over the numbers as much. I can tell you right now, there is no one out there that's probably studied the SEO and the rankings and thumbnails and all that stuff more than I have. Like, I looked at that, like, what colors should you use on a thumbnail? How you should do your intro, what you should tag your videos, like all these, there's so much stuff to it. And you can get so involved in that stuff that you really kind of miss out on
why you got into it.
Yeah. The enjoyment of actually doing it. So I would say do something that you enjoy. Try not to stress the numbers too much. I mean, you can sit here and say that all day, right? You can sit here and say that all day. Don't stress the numbers, but still, though, it's always, it's always a hard knock when you work really hard on something and you put it out there and it doesn't do well. You know, it's like every video that I've ever done that I'm like, oh man, I spent 10 hours editing this video. I loved it. And it doesn't do nearly as good as some of the videos that I don't put any effort into. It's like go figure. It's the weirdest thing. But I would say, those things. I think to me, audio is a big one. I think a bad audio turns more people off than anything else. So at least try to invest in some kind of decent mic. You don't have to break the bank. Sure. I didn't break the bank on this one. This mic was like $58 when I got it. So
for sure,
but I would think those would be some of the things. But like I said, first and foremost, just do something that you enjoy and that you want to like, because it's a long haul. Like,
absolutely.
To me, YouTube is a marathon. It's not a race.
Yeah,
it's by no means a race. It is a marathon. There are a few people out there that like they just have the magic touch. you know those people, like they can just make a video and they can put it on YouTube and it just
blows
to
up.
The moon.
It just blows up to the moon.
Casey Neistat, he's one that comes to mind. It's like I've seen that guy post a video and within 4 minutes had 800,000 views.
Good Lord.
And his videos are like anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes long. Mostly
not long at all.
To the 8 minute. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. Some people just have that touch.
Yeah, it's like, to your point though, he's been at it for, I don't know, 15 plus years. So to your point, Spur, it's a marathon, right?
It is a marathon.
It took a while for him to get to that point where his content just quote unquote sells itself.
I think like, when you're a new YouTuber and they say, well, start out in a niche that you want to put out there that no one else does, or it's a small market. I mean, it's still a big market share on YouTube because there's 3 billion plus people watching, but it's still kind of like firefighting sims. But you're going to be limited on your audience with that at some point, and I feel like the true success on YouTube is like not necessarily getting people to watch firefighting content, but watching you because they want to watch you, right? Not because they found a firefighting video. You know, I think, you know, a channel will get to a point where, like a Jeff Fabiano, where it's put out there because Jeff Fabiano.
Exactly.
You know? It's just because it's his content, or you know what I'm saying? Like if that makes sense.
Yep. No, you're spot on, Spur. You know, I think I've said that. You know, I've hollered that as well, because you know, I sometimes, especially when I was traveling a bunch, I was like, man, I'm tired of thinking about throughput tests, tired of thinking about output formats. I need to go watch something. You know, you're watching YouTube, and you know, you get somebody who's out there streaming, and you know, they don't say anything, they're not engaging. You're like, all right, guys, we're about to go from here to wherever. You know, you hear like the clicking, and it's like there's no true engagement. And man, that's tough. Like that's tough on the audience. So you got to figure out a way to get the audience to resonate with you.
Yeah, exactly right. You got to make that connection
with you. You could play lawn mowing simulator, and they're going to watch it because, hey, you know, Spur playing a lawn mowing, you know, check him out, you know. But spot on, Spur, spot on, my friend. I was just kind of curious, you know. I didn't want to not to cut you off or nothing, because you know, just looking at your channel and the growth, it's just exploding right now, you know. So definitely shout out to you on your diligence. And again, I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that, hey, you know, they want to watch Spur because all of your, you know, a lot of your content, you know, whether it's Run 8, whether it's, you know, DCS, wherever you're playing, you know, it's, you know, the views are solid.
Thanks, I appreciate that. It's definitely, I don't think people realize how difficult it can be, like doing content creation online.
A lot of work.
It is. It's a lot of work, and it's not always guaranteed to be successful.
No,
you know, you're going to have things that flat out don't do anything. You know, you're going to have some videos that do great. I've had videos do good that I'm like, really?
How did that go?
That video did good. Like that one did good. Out of all these videos I've done, that is the one that did good. I
had 15 minutes and it got the most views.
Right, yeah. It's like, you know, you were asking, what would you suggest? I went into YouTube thinking I can control what this does. Right, I can study this stuff in SEO and everything, and I can make it do what I want it to do. And while that may be partly true, you really don't. Like it's just going to do what it does, right? Like some videos catch on, and some don't. And that's not to say that you could take that video that didn't catch on, delete it, and repost it a few days later, and it may catch on too. Like, you know, it's the weirdest thing as far as how this stuff works. It's just, you know, I hate to say like luck of the draw.
Absolutely.
But I feel like there is a little bit of like, you've got to put something out there at the right time, at the right moment that people are looking for, they're searching for, they're interested in, whatever, and then it'll catch on and do something, you know.
Spot on, my friend. Spot on. Yeah, you know, that's, again, you know, it's definitely you know, more or less, you know, kind of a gamble. You can, you know,
it is.
It really
one would say, you know, as far as what you put out there. I mean, it's just like, you know, and again, it's like, man, the videos you can care less about, you drop them out there and they just explode, you know.
And things are so competitive now too.
Very.
Definitely since COVID, I think like everyone felt like, hey, I can do gaming videos.
Yep.
It's the easiest thing to get into, right? It's the easiest type of content to get into, because all you got to do is have OBS. All you got to do is have a mic. Like a lot of people don't even do commentary. They just play the games and put them up there.
Yep.
And those are successful as well.
Yeah, but it's like the easiest type of content creation I feel like you can get into on YouTube. Yeah, I really do. Like, you know, you just, at a minimum, you can just record your gameplay and put it up there, or you can do commentary would be the next step, you know, have a mic, do commentary. The next step would be to show your face of you playing the game like a Let's Play. And then the next step above that is actually like really interacting with the people and
for sure,
and like including them and like taking it to the next level, you know. So It's definitely, it's very competitive. It's crazy competitive. And you have to, you know, as you're growing your channel, you have to kind of like weed yourself through all that competition and hopefully, you know, kind of start stair stepping above them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that whole face reveal thing during COVID was a huge thing, and folks planned it exactly. They would stream for a couple of months, just, you know, sound and audio, and man, once you did that face reveal, first of all, that that one episode or stream, your numbers were insane. And then subsequent to that, right, you were just doing amazing. And again, if you planned it that way, the algorithm caught on, people caught on, and, you know, it kind of blew up from there. So it's there's definitely, I think, a level of planning and organization, a lot of that, I should say. But I think to your point, though, Spur, there's definitely some right place, right time moments that helps contribute to the success.
Yeah, I think it has to, unless you're like on the level of a Mr. Beast.
Yeah,
where that dude, like, he's like a guru with working YouTube, with like playing the YouTube game, you know. And so, you know, anything he puts, but I think a lot of that is because it is Mr. Beast. Like if you go back and watch some of his really early stuff, you know, it didn't do well.
Everyone started somewhere.
Yeah, everyone starts somewhere. I love like watching his really early gameplay videos where he was playing like first person shooters and stuff like that. I don't think a lot of people realize that. It's like really inspiring because, you know, you could tell. I think these videos go back to maybe 2015, 2016, some of his earliest stuff. But yeah, like he was just a kid. He was literally just a kid, like a young teen, just playing video games and posting them on YouTube. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Pretty inspiring.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and again, you know, there's, you know, it's just definitely, you know, if you're looking to get into content creation, man, yeah, you're right. I mean, I can't think of another facet that's, you know, as easy to penetrate as gaming, you know. So
yeah, that's true.
No, definitely.
And just the tools you got to do it. I mean, you stream from your PS5. I'm sure.
You pretty much got it. You can, easily access anything you need to do it nowadays.
And it performs well. Like you know, your equipment performs well.
You can get DaVinci Resolve for free to edit, to do all your editing and stuff. Like, you know, you don't even have to pay for an editor anymore. You know, like you can easily get into it. At that point, it's just a matter of how much of yourself do you want to put into it? And I think that's the hard part for a lot of people getting into it, because it's either a shyness kind of thing. Like, you know, some people just don't even want to talk on a video. Like they just simply just want to do the gameplay and put it up there. So there's like different levels that you have to take yourself.
Yeah, because it's definitely hard to talk to yourself knowing you're recording a video.
Oh my goodness,
you know, it is.
And, you know, unless you're like, you know, a couple of cards shy of a full deck like I am, just talk to yourself anyway.
Man, I'm the card you throw out of the box when you open it.
Exactly. Oh man. Yeah, you know, but no, those are good points. I mean, you know, again, you know, it's you get out of it what you put into it. You know, it's definitely a time investment, and the you know, the successful content creators, you can definitely tell there's a lot of time and a lot of effort put into it. And you know, when you plant those seeds, you know, more often than not, you know, they tend to bear fruit. Now, one aspect I have seen is like, you know, let's say we're just focusing just on flight simulation. You can kind of see like, you know, where you kind of, you know, you're peaking, boom, and then you kind of plateau and just kind of ride that wave versus dabbling into, let's say, you know, farm sim or other sims to try to, you know, help bolster those subscription numbers. Have you noticed that at all, Spur?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like diversifying your audience, I think definitely helps, because there's only so many people that watch firefighting.
For sure.
There's only so many people that watch DCS. There's only so many people that watch Farm Simulator.
For sure.
But if you diversify, you know, you grab a little bit of that audience, you grab a little bit of this audience, you grab a little bit of this one. It may not be a huge following as if you just did it exclusively, but I really feel like for like long-term growth, diversification is the way to go, because if you only focus on one area, it's eventually going to peak. Like, you're going to reach the maximum amount of people that you could possibly reach that watch Farm Simulator, and that's going to be it. You know, so I feel like trying to capture, it's like I said, it's a double-edged sword. You know, you pivot your content. Some people that are watching you for firefighting aren't going to like that. They're
you're going to see some of them fall off.
Yeah, they're going to fall, or they're just not going to watch. But, you know, the more I thought about it, they say, well, you know, some people say, well, you should post a minimum of 1 video a week. So, you know, if you're posting 5 videos a week, but you're doing 1 firefighting video a week or 1 DCS video a week, or whatever, you know, it kind of pans out a little bit maybe, but I don't know. The channel, like, short term, the channel probably could have grown more just sticking with one niche. Absolutely. But I feel like long term, it's better to kind of branch out into other things. And plus, it just makes it easier for me.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy it a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Instead of just having to record the same thing over and over
again. Yeah, there's no way. If I had to do that, I wouldn't be doing it now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people look at it the other way around. I think that's interesting. A lot of people, you know, this is what I know, this is what I do, and this is what I'm going to stream over and over again until I'm banging my head against the wall. And for those that like it and enjoy it, cool. We'll stick to it. And for those that don't, you know, there are other channels to watch. But I think diversifying that sort of overall content on your platform definitely goes a long way for the long term. Like you said, speaking of platform, you know, again, thanks for everyone for joining us today. I know we've got a couple of folks on the YouTube side, the Facebook side, and Twitter side, and platform. I know for a while, Spur, when you first, gosh, maybe this was 2 years ago now, but I remember you were on the YouTube side and you were using that primarily for both streaming and videos. And then after a while, you said, you know what? If I'm going to stream, it's got to be on Twitch, and then YouTube will be primarily my videos. Has that sort of thought process continued as you continue to learn more about, you know, the platforms themselves and, you know, the environment and sort of what people like versus don't like, or now it's more like, I just stick with YouTube?
I think I want to get back into streaming. I've talked about it a lot. I think if I were to come back to streaming, I would probably do YouTube. I like Twitch. I got monetized on Twitch really fast. But to me, on Twitch, it is really easy for a new content creator or someone that's not as big as the big ones, you know, to get buried. Like, I feel like it's harder to find people, like, to be given an opportunity to be seen on Twitch versus YouTube, right? Like, if you go to Twitch and you look up World of Warcraft,
oh my gosh,
several pages are going to be people with, you know, tons and tons of people watching them, and someone that might have 10 or 12 people watching them is going to be way down. Like, you purposely got to go look for those people.
Gotcha.
How many people that go to Twitch say, I'm going to look at this genre and I'm going to find a small content, I'm going to scroll through all these people that have tons of people watching them and find small content creator, you know, towards the bottom? It doesn't really, like, it doesn't really happen, you know? So I think if I were to do it, I would multi-stream. I don't know. I've kind of thought about that and just kind of throw it out there and see what happens. But I think YouTube would be my main focus. Now, I feel like it's better for me because I'm more established on YouTube now. You know, it's hard to take your subs from YouTube to another platform. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're saying, hey, I'm going to go on Twitch. I mean, some are going to go over there, but you're not going to get the bulk of them.
No.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it, you know, so
YouTube
and the platform being different too. Like, not a lot of people, I don't like, personally, I don't like Twitch.
Same.
Now, I do follow some people.
Yeah.
But because they're only on Twitch, but just the bits and all, like, to me, it gets so convoluted. It's too busy. Too busy.
Some of the content too on Twitch, and what happened with me, like, early on, when I was streaming on Twitch, my daughters would go to school and they would tell some of their friends, hey, Dad's a streamer, you know, and some of their friends would actually come and watch, you know, and with Twitch, it always, I don't know how it is, I hadn't been on there for ages, but it always made me a little bit uncomfortable because I felt like the kids were being exposed to more things on there than they needed to be exposed
exactly.
to. You know, like,
exactly.
I mean, you had the hot tub cams and you
Yeah.
had all
Oh my
this
gosh, I
stuff.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it made me a little bit uncomfortable with that too. So
yeah, Mr. Spur brings up a good point. Well, you're not weird, Mr. Spur, but I love smaller streams because I love the interaction as much, if not more than content. That's a good point. You know, some of those massive streams you get in there, especially when there's like 200 plus. You know, I mean, it's just the chat's rolling so much.
Oh yeah,
keep up with it. You know, and versus the little small ones there. You know, especially on the content creator side, you can actually see, you know, and have time to respond rather than 70 other chats, coming in after that. But
it's a lot more intimate.
Yep,
it is.
It's a lot more intimate. Yeah.
Because, a lot of people now, I mean, they're streaming to Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble. Right. I mean, there's like 7 or 8 different.
Yeah, Kick too now. Like,
Kick. That's the one I was trying to think of. Yeah. But
like, wait, what? What the heck is that?
What is a Kick?
You can stream on Kick too now.
What's Kick?
I don't even know. I've just seen it.
It's some kind of Kick is like. It started out as like a chat program or something, and then somehow they got into streaming. And I know some of the big streamers from Twitch wound up going to Kick and getting huge deals, getting huge deals over there.
Oh wow!
Kick. Yeah, it was crazy. Like
you thought what you call it was convoluted. This looks like a mess.
Man, I thought you guys were gonna bring up OnlyFans or something. Oh my gosh, man! World of Warcraft OnlyFans.
Wait, that's coming. That's coming, right? It's gonna be there. I would not be
surprised.
Watch me send this 737 man from LAS to wherever OnlyFans.
Right.
Kick is the new Twitch. Oh, that's interesting. Blue said Kick is the new. Sorry, Johnny.
We know.
I always do that to you, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Sorry, man. You gotta go.
Blue says Kick is the new Twitch. Interesting. Okay.
Wow.
I hadn't heard about it.
Yeah, man.
Who was the big streamer that went from Twitch that went over there that got like a crazy amount of money? I'm talking like millions of dollars.
What?
Supposedly on his contract to go, to get like the stupid money going over there. Like, and
wow.
I'm like, y'all, I didn't even know streaming was a thing over there until I heard about these people starting to move over there. I'm like, how can they even pay them this money to do that? But supposedly, I
think a lot of it too is the folks that are getting censored on certain platforms.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure that plays a part as well.
Probably. It could very well. It could. But yeah, ultimately, I think I would stick with YouTube. I think I like the membership thing. I think that's kind of cool now that they've done that, and hopefully they do some more stuff with streaming and that sort of thing. But
yeah, I think so. And I mean, I don't know. I've tried Twitch, and I think just. I had the same experience a lot of you guys had, just way too much. I mean, it's just, oh my gosh.
You get buried. You get buried so deep.
Oh my Lord. Especially if it's something popular. Don't let it be like Call of Duty or anything like that. Man,
you can't. Yeah, don't start streaming World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, any of that stuff on Twitch because you're never going to get found unless you have some kind of support system to kind of help you break through all that stuff.
Exactly. As far as content and Sims wise, what have you been favoring here lately, Spur?
DCS, absolutely. Really? DCS, love DCS here lately.
Pray tell, dear sir.
Yeah, I've dabbled in DCS for a long time. But DCS is one of those games where you really you can't dabble in that game. If
you can't, you're either in or you're out.
You're in or you're out. I learned that
absolutely.
real quick.
You're in or you're out.
Yeah, if you shot me down.
Yeah,
Charlie.
when I took Brother Johnny out.
I remember that. We're flying along. And I look over and Johnny's going down in this big fireball, this trail of smoke. I'm like, what happened to Johnny?
Oh, you were flying too, Spur, that day?
Yeah, we were all flying. Yeah, we're on the Hoggett server, right?
Yeah, I was running cover for them and hit the wrong button.
He had
Johnny
Master Arm on.
There was no warning, no RWS, no
can't take Charlie anywhere,
anywhere, bro. I'll take the slap out.
Boom,
like I said,
one minute he's like flying.
Yeah, 1 minute he's flying, and then there's this big, magnificent fireball just arcing down to the ground. I'm like, oh, there's Johnny over there. Okay.
Made me feel so bad because it took him like 20 minutes to fire the plane up, man, because there's so many tasks you have to do. And I'm like, oh, shit.
And then you got booted from the server, too. And then you get the,
I got booted.
And then the voice comms.
Don't feel bad, dude. I got the boot the other day, too. And I've been playing it pretty hardcore for a long time. And I got the boot on the Hoggett training server, and I felt so bad. But I shot one of our guys down. You know, they have the little training area there with all the little fighters that you can shoot down, and I was on one side of them, and I had no clue that there was a blue team player on the northern side of them just flying through, minding his own business, and I let a sidewinder go, and it went straight for him. Like, it went through all the red planes and got the Hornet.
Oh my gosh.
It got the Hornet that was on the other side, and it said, you killed a friendly player. And I was so shocked and just devastated. I was just like, man, okay, well,
oops.
It happens. Yeah, it happens.
Like, this is him.
It does. Yeah, but it was funny though, because it's like, we were using SRS, which is real world radio communication, and like you can't communicate, if your plane shot down. So it was like, I couldn't say anything or anything. But
I was like, market location.
Exactly.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Now I'm tripping out about this right here.
$70 million.
This is Spur. XQC left Twitch to Kick for $70 million over the next 2 years, with incentives that could bring that to $100 million.
Is that not crazy or what?
We've got people signing like pro athlete money to stream games. Oh my goodness.
We in the wrong.
Could you imagine a Dr. Disrespect, like what kind of deal he would get? It'd be an insane amount of money.
Who's that?
Dr. Disrespect.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Wow. That's crazy.
I think he said he would go to Kick if he had the right money offered. So, like, evidently he hadn't had the money he wants offered.
Yeah, he probably, $125, $125 million.
Jeez, man.
But the thing is, he made
million. He can afford a Cirrus.
Shoot, $70 million. You better not get no daggum Sears.
I'd say you should one for Christmas. You kidding me?
We won't be friends no more.
Oh man, make it like a Cirrus and a half or something. I don't know.
Cirrus and a half. Gosh, you guys are funny.
Better be rolling up like a 525 or something.
Oh man,
I get you guys the clips.
Isn't it crazy though? How what big money gaming is?
Yeah, man. I didn't know.
Like just gaming online,
in general,
crazy.
Like Goose the Beast and Ninja and all those guys, right? But I thought those are few and far in between. First of all, I've never heard of XQC ever.
I don't know who that is.
So the fact that he's being offered $35 million a year to jump on this newfound streaming service is insane. It's crazy.
Wow, it's crazy. Yeah, maybe one day I'm plus in Fortnite.
Right. Well, yeah, a lot of these guys are Fortnite players, right? XQC, I think XQC was Ninja. Like,
really?
I can't do Fortnite. Fortnite makes me crazy.
Man, I can't either.
Play that game.
I could never get into that game.
I can't either. My son, he participated in a Fortnite tournament like a couple weeks ago, actually. And I'm thinking I'm gonna go in there. Fortunately, it was a coffee shop. Thank the Lord, so I can bring my laptop and get some work done while he's doing that. And I'm sitting there, and there's like grown individuals in there. I'm talking like our age and older, participating. And
oh yeah, Yeah.
It was amazing, just, and oh my gosh, then you're watching what they do, and just like, man, it just never vibed with me, at all. So I'm just
The
like,
building
oh,
puts me off.
yeah,
you see, I don't do the building. If
I can't
play,
do that.
I'll do the.
No, I can't either.
do
Then like
the
you watch
no
some of the guys
building
building, it's like the finger work is just
Oh, they got special
know.
things that they put on their controllers where they can like use all their fingers.
What?
And
Really?
yeah, there's
I
things
wonder-
that
Seriously?
yeah.
I wonder how
Wow.
that happened.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, and I can't do that. I'm not fast enough. I'm too old. Like,
My brain don't process that.
yeah,
fast.
I can't process that stuff. My two oldest daughters both play Fortnite, and they both won repeatedly. Like it's nothing for
Wow.
one of them
Oh,
to
really?
win, and I've yet to win one. Like, I can't.
I played it like 4 times. I did run a Vic roll one time.
Yeah, I
My
can't.
daughters were like, "You ain't gonna win." I was like, "What, me?"
The thing about like
I hid in the bush.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I did.
Go
I hid in
find
the
a
bush
way.
and kept going. I was like, they all killed themselves out, and I was at the top when it was over.
The thing about Fortnite that puts me off too is like there's so much wait. Like you gotta wait in the lobby. Then you got to queue up, and you got to go in, and then you got to go in. You got to jump from the bus, and then you got to get on the ground and find something to use. All right, and
go through the chest and do all that.
Yeah, you got to go through all this stuff, and then when you finally get your stuff, you haven't seen anyone, right? And you're running across the map trying to get to a good location. And the next thing you know, you're shot in the back and you're killed, and it's all over with.
That's it.
You start over, and that's not entertaining to me one bit. I can't stand it. It just makes me crazy. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And Warzone's kind of the same,
Oh yeah, Warzone's yeah.
And I'm just like, no. I bought the new Call of Duty and I love it, but I'm not playing Warzone. I'm just not.
I don't like the battle royale genre.
I don't either.
Really, I just don't care for it. It's just not me.
And all that. Yeah. Yeah.
It's too much to do to just be randomly killed and have to start all over again.
Yeah. You got half an hour in there and you look around a tree. It's over.
And then you're
back
dead.
to the lobby.
Back to the lobby. Exactly right.
Yes, man. Because lately I've been struggling with some of those aircraft. You get them fired up, it take you that 15, 20 minutes to get them fired up.
That's true.
Yes.
And then you depart, and then it's like
your buddy shoots you in the back.
So, or you catch a Sam or something stupid happens or whatever. It's like, so it's. I get that for sure.
It depends on the server. Like there's one server, I play on Georgia at War a lot. I like that one. I like through the end. I don't do the PvP servers too much because they're just too laggy for me. Like Growling Sidewinder is a big one. Everyone goes Growling Sidewinder. It's just a laggy mess for me for some reason. But you can go to there's a server I like called Faces of Death that it's hot start. Everything's hot start on around. Like you die, you jump right back in your airplane, and you're good to go. Just load it up, and you can get right back. So I like that. To me, like if I'm going to sit down and play DCS for hours on end one day, I kind of like the hot start because I think the like going through the whole routine of starting your airplane gets kind of repetitive, right? Like it's the same thing over and over again. So I like the hot start servers. I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah, that I may need to do that because I think that's part of the reason why I kind of took a little bit of a break. Then I messed around.
Because it's a lot, man. You got an hour to send something, and 30 minutes of that you're just trying to get on the runway.
That was it.
Yeah, man, it's hard. You have to have time investment. You have to have time for DCS, and
I feel like DCS is one of those games where you can play it one of two different ways. You can play it really conservatively, or you can bonsai. And just go up in the middle of it, and if you die, you die and start over, or you can kind of hang back and play it conservatively and kind of like I like the BVR timelines like they have in real life. They don't like generally in real life, if there's air-to-air combat, they're not going to just bonsai into it head first. Like there's certain things that they have to do at certain points, at certain ranges, And so they have a thing where they talk about skate, and skate means get out of there, and they might have a certain range that they want to skate by, like 20 miles out. And if at 20 miles, if things aren't going the way they want the battle to go, they turn and get out of there. They disengage, So I skate quick. Like I'm a very conservative player, like so I won't have to constantly be restarting the airplane and going through all that stuff. You know? So
exactly.
Yeah, skate quick, skate early. You know, get out of there. Don't mess around. You know.
For sure, my friend. Any, I know Heat Blur, which is a huge developer in DCS, probably one of the biggest in my opinion. They've, I think their F14 is right around the corner for 2020. Well, you think that's going to make much of an impact as far as a lot of 2020 users are concerned, or you think some DCS players are going to feel some type of way? What do you think?
I feel like the military stuff in 2020 is kind of a niche thing because I feel like a lot of the 2020 players don't know how to really employ that kind of thing in a basically a civilian game where you're not shooting missiles and doing aerial combat or whatever, you know. Yeah, there will be people that get it, but like I said, I think it's such a one-off to a lot of people because they don't know what to do. Well, you think about what do they do in real life? You know, they train, they go to MOAs, they go to, you know, low-level routes, they do training, and you don't see people like employing that kind of stuff in 2020.
Yeah, it's true. And I can just see it now on VATSIM. Someone else
sending
oh my gosh, man, just jacking up the freaking airspace. I can see it now. So,
dude, that like honestly, that was some of the most enjoyable times I've ever had in Microsoft Flight Simulator was back in '98 when I actually started a virtual squadron called the 128th Bomb Squadron, and it was based on a real life 128th Bomb Squadron from the Georgia Air National Guard.
Right.
Yeah, and we flew the B-1 bomber just like they did, and we flew like I had a friend that actually flew for them in real life, so he would kind of give me some ideas of what they were doing real world.
Oh, wow.
Stateside training, you know?
Sure.
So they would go to a warning area off in the Atlantic, off like the coast of South Carolina. And they may do some kind of maneuvers out there. They may work with fighters and like do intercepts or stuff like that. Or they'd go to the warning areas down in the Gulf of Mexico. So he told me all this stuff. And what we would do is we started incorporating this into FS98 on Satco. Because back then there were no rules. You could do that. You could there was no, what do they have now where it's the special operations or whatever that you have to
join. Yeah, something weird. Yeah.
Back then there was none of that. So what we would do is we would take these B1s out and we would fly like in a 2-ship formation and we would go to like Memphis Center, and we would fly a low-level route there. And then we would come off the low-level route and go back. And people like these controllers love that. Like it got to the point where we had controllers like asking us to come to their airspace to do something because it was so different, you know.
Oh, too cool. Yeah,
there was one. We used to go up to Chicago Center a lot, and I'm trying to think of that MOA up there. They used to have the Kokomo arrival into Chicago. That's not even a thing anymore. I don't even think the Kokomo arrival is a thing. But there was a MOA that was like right by the arrival into Chicago. So it kind of dog-legged around the MOA, you know, and they would have us come up there and fly around in that MOA. And then the airliners going into Chicago could like route around us and they could look off their wing and see us over there doing our thing.
That's the aircraft. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really cool. Really, really cool. But I don't think a lot of people think about that kind of stuff.
No, they don't. You know, it's more, especially when you're, you know, thinking along the lines of military aircraft, you think of like military operations and employing weapons and things like that. But, you know, outside of that, you know, there's a lot of things that happen, you know, within the squadron, you know, like you mentioned, you know, training operations, you know, and practicing maneuvers, you know, and all of that, you know, is done cold, you know, meaning weapons aren't hot. So, you know, it's, you know, there's a lot of aspects to that. So who knows? I mean, I think that, you know, that F14 might do pretty well just because there's a lot of folks who have DCS also have 2020 and they're like, oh yeah, the heat blur, you know. And I've seen some screenshots. It looks pretty dang good, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a thing for me.
I don't know. I have the F14 in DCS. To me, it's kind of a novelty, to be honest. I know a lot of F14 people are going to like hate that, right? Like the F14 reigns supreme, This is one of the greatest, and I mean, I give credit where it's due, but
for sure.
Like you fly to me in DCS, you fly the F-14 because you want to fly the F-14.
You want to play F-14, exactly.
Yeah. You want that experience. If I want to go BVR in DCS and feel like have a pretty good chance of being successful, I'll take the F-15C.
F-18. Yeah.
Or the F-15C. The F-15C is a beast in that game. The radar, like you could pick people up 80 miles out, way further in the Hornet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, under right conditions, you can pick people up a long ways out and do well. I feel like the Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the Phoenix on the F-14 in DCS is a toss-up. You could take the long shot. You might get it. It's like winning the lottery, though. If you get that 50-mile shot, that 50, 60-mile shot, if it's like a fighter that's doing any kind of maneuvering, you're probably not going to hit him.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to get him.
You're not going to get him. The Phoenix was more for intercepting big, like, bear bombers and stuff like that. So, they aren't very maneuverable. But I feel like if I take I call it the Seagull. The C model Eagle. If I take the Seagull up, I feel like I have a pretty good chance with slinging AMRAAMs to get something.
Yeah.
Wow. To have a good mission. And then that goes back to that whole skate thing. Whereas, in the Eagle, it's got, tons of get up and go. You can sling some AMRAAMs and then skate and get out of there really super fast and be good,
Yeah.
Wow.
How do y'all think the flight dynamics will be?
In FS 2020?
That was the first thing I thought of. I wonder how close to DCS they would be.
Oh, man. That's a good question, Charlie.
It's not going to be close. I mean, DC, again, for someone that dabbled in it, like we said earlier, here or there, the flight dynamics always blew me away. 2020 is not going to come close to that.
It might be a reasonable facsimile, but it's not going to be. Yeah, it's not going to be. I've never really been like 100% happy with a lot of the flight dynamics at FS 2020. To be honest, like it just
join the crowd.
I'm not saying nothing.
There's some great. Yeah.
It's gotten a lot better though, Spur.
Yeah, it has
I remember Spur used to we all did, but I remember watching some of Spur's streams and videos in 2020. He was just over it.
Yeah, I just feel like
I think it's come away a little bit.
To me, 2020 and maybe it's just me, but it's come off to me as like one of the most gamey of the flight sims done of Microsoft.
In a way, it has, but with Asobo and Microsoft really targeting that console audience as well.
Yeah,
I think it was one of the unfortunate implications of doing so. It has become that. I don't think 2024 is going to be too much different. I think the trick is, the challenge for Asobo is trying to balance between the two, right? To try to appease users like us, who's been in it, to win it forever and a day. And, the console market as well, so you're spot on. As like, for example, when I sometimes I'll use my Xbox controller for the drone camera, and you fire it up and boom, it instantly recognizes the controller. And pre-3D, it's like, what controller? Huh? Why?
Yeah, separate controller they have views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think they've said this for a while, and I think when you look at their core audience and who they're marketing to and where the money is, it's that console community. And I think that console community and those dollars help drive the future development of the platform.
Yeah.
We're hardcore simmers, but let's be honest, in comparison, there are very few of us compared to the.
Yeah, I was about to say we're the niche.
You're right. You're absolutely.
We're
right.
not pushing the dollars, right? It's the other side of the crowd, and in an effort to continue to fund those dollars and help improve the platform, they've got to strike that balance. And to Johnny's point, it's figuring out how to strike the balance without sort of damaging the true essence of what flight simulators should be.
Yep.
True story. No. Let me ask you guys this. do you think like high fidelity aircraft is pretty much the standard now for flight simming? Because it seems like it, like everything in DCS is releasing is high fidelity. You see a ton of high fidelity aircraft being released for FS 2020.
I think it's gotta be. And I think we've done
but I think you still got the other side with the console thing too. You got to have that lower end stuff.
There you go, Charlie. There's been a lot of videos on that from DCS users. They're like, are we getting too many high fidelity? Because, you know, Mike's right. Just about everything, you know, and a lot of it's, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm guilty. You almost expect something high fidelity in DCS because, you know, one, I mean, these things aren't cheap, right?
Yeah.
And two, you know, I mean, it's DCS, you know, right? But on the flip side of that, you know, the argument has been brought up that, you know, are we alienating a certain segment of the market because, you know, there are some folks out there that simply don't have time to dive into, dang, not only do I have to figure out how to fly the thing, I have to be able to shoot, move, and communicate with the thing and operate the systems, the radar, the ECM, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, there is a market out there for those lower, like, what was that? Into the Cliffs, guys, I think.
Flaming Cliffs.
Flaming Cliffs, man. That's the only thing I would
love. Yeah.
That's the only thing I would fly. I bought the A10-2, and something else I don't remember. And I got in the Flaming Cliffs because I didn't want to spend all that time to go up and get shot right back down. And
Flaming Cliffs is a plane that you can just you can jump right in like minimal effort.
Absolutely.
And get right into it. And like you said, if you're shot down, you just start right over, you know, start over really quickly, get back up in the air. It's not, and it's one of those planes, like if I take a break from DCS for any amount of time, one of the first planes that I'll go back into the game is F-15C. Because it's so easy. Like you can always get up and running in that airplane. Super fast.
And for somebody like me in DCS, I would love to have seen more of those, and I would probably play it more often.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I think the flip side too is like how much the high fidelity aircraft has slowed the pipeline down as far as development.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's really
good. It stretches it out to some of this stuff for years.
Years.
Yeah.
So just think if it was more FC3 stuff, just think of how many airplanes you could see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which would draw more people ultimately, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Because I mean the sim itself is just freaking gorgeous. Oh man, it's freaking gorgeous. I fired it up yesterday to take a screenshot for this show. And man, it was just whoa, and I forgot how good it looked, you know, and
it's ridiculous how good it looks.
Yeah, I mean, if you can imagine getting a Flaming Cliffs, you know, part 3, you know, however you wanted to market it, you know, but aircraft along that, you know, along that level of fidelity, and you know, I definitely think it would entice, you know, more users to the genre.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like I was saying, I could take the F-14 up. That's high fidelity airplane, you know, beautifully done. And I can take it up in a BVR situation in DCS on a PvE server. Like I said, I don't do a lot of PvP, but I might be successful in it. I could definitely come back alive. But if I take the Flaming Cliffs F-15C, I feel like I have a really good chance of being very successful in like some kind of cap roll or something, you know, trying to down other aircraft, you know, versus the F-14, which is just two completely different aircraft, you know.
Absolutely. No, spot on, guys. Spot on. And outside of DCS, I know a lot of videos I was watching as well, Spur, and you know, again, you know, it's I see that, you know, a lot of us who are into aviation and are, you know, it's, you know, become something we've, you know, come to love and enjoy. We seem to gravitate towards sims that, you know, involve some sort of mechanization, whether it's, you know,
a motor, something with a motor.
Something
with a motor.
Yes, you know, Yeah, racing for the win. And you know, and I see a lot of train simulation on your end. But tell me, Spur, why is it? Do you? I noticed you don't stream Train Sim World much or at all, actually. Why is that?
I don't do Train Sim World? I haven't played it in a long time. I played it back in the day when it was Railworks, and I was never impressed. I was never impressed. Like, you know, I've actually, for those that don't know, I actually worked the job. I worked as a conductor for a few years. I didn't do it too long before I pulled the pin, but
hard job.
It is a very hard job. Keeps you going all the time. Yeah. It was just always really extremely lacking, and I can't say how it is now, you know, but you know, the times that I did play it way back in the day, it was nothing like what it was really like.
Train Sim World.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. Everyone swears it's the bee's knees, but maybe they don't have that perspective, right? That you have, Spur, of actually working the job.
It may be better now. It may be better now. I really don't know. I haven't played it in years, but I know when I played it years in the past, it was like you set the brakes up, and I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't right at all. You know.
Well, for one, you know, a lot of us, including myself, really have no firm understanding of the braking system on a locomotive. So. Right. You know, I mean, if, you know, whatever.
Kind of at the mercy of the tutorial at that point.
There you go. You know, we're kind of just, I guess you kind of have to take it at face value what you're presented with. But I noticed, you know, you stream a lot of Run 8, and I'm not going to lie, it's even enticed me. I actually picked it up years back, but man, it got, and I hate that. I'm going to be first one. It wasn't as pretty as Train Sim World. So I'm like, man, oh no. So I kind of like put it to the side, but just the level of fidelity I've noticed when I watch you play it, man, and it seems to have gotten better even graphically. It looks a lot better than it has in the past.
Well, you know, I worked on Run 8.
Really?
Yeah, I worked on Run 8. Yeah, I worked on Run 8 for several years as an artist. Yeah, in the early days. Yeah, wow. I did. Yeah.
Oops, I'm sorry. So, it looked amazing.
No. Yeah, here's the thing. Yeah.
Johnny puts his foot in his mouth once again.
No. I totally. Here's the thing.
I'm snipping this.
Right. No, I totally get it. I totally get that. Run 8 is a completely different beast. As far as railroad simulation, it is completely different beast.
Wow.
One of the things that I will tell anyone with Run 8 is like, you could go on the Waycross expansion, and there's a rail yard in Waycross that has just the bowl, the classification part of the yard is 60 tracks simulated.
Wow.
It's got a 12-track receiving yard. It's got 10 on the north, 4 or 5 on the south forwarding yards. So maybe about 14 or 15 departure yards. So you've got 12 receiving that are 2 miles long each, 12,000 feet. The north forwarding is south forwarding, and then you got the 60 track bowl, which is actually all automated. You can hump cars just like they do in real life, and they'll cut off and roll down in there on their own. I've seen as many as 3,000 or 4,000 cars on my computer in that game at one time. In one place.
Cars in one place.
Yeah. You will never see that in Train Sim World.
No.
You will never see that in Train Sim World. And that's part of the difference in the graphics was, what are you wanting to do with the end game? Right? What are you trying to accomplish? You know, so Run 8 allows you the ability to have like thousands of rail cars, and even on it like a route as a whole, a 200 mile route. Some of these routes are 200 plus miles long. You know, you could have thousands of rail cars populated
at one time.
At one time, yeah, and you won't see that. You know, you won't see that on Train Sim World, and that's part of the trade-off with the graphics, because if you look at a game like that and you say you jump into the game, if you go to this Waycross yard and 70% of your system resources are just being used for just for the scenery.
That's true.
You're not going to be able to have 3,000 cars populating the yard. You know, it's just it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So that was a big part of it. And then when I originally started helping with Run 8, it was Microsoft.net. And we were very, very limited on memory that we could use just because of the way it worked, just the inner work. And I'm not a programmer. I couldn't tell you that. All I could tell you is that we were very, very limited as far as the resources that we could use from someone's computer, like in the very first version of the game. And that was one of the first things that they wound up doing, was getting away from that and doing their own engine, because then they could use as much memory as they wanted to. But it was like extremely hamstrung starting out. I remember we did the first 2 rolling stock packs for Run 8, and it was maybe 8 cars per pack, so 16 cars total. And people were already hitting out of memory exceptions because of the memory limitations that we had going into it. So, you know, that's the one thing you hear all the time about Run 8. Well, the graphics aren't nearly as good as XYZ. But, you know, like I said, if they were on par with Train Sim World, you wouldn't see, like I said, you wouldn't see 3,000 cars sitting in the bowl of Waycross Yard, you know, like you do in Run 8. It depends. Like some people don't care about that.
Right.
You know, some people don't care about that. They just want to run trains. It's all, it just all is relative to like how far down the rabbit hole as far as operations do you want to get into.
Yep. No, spot on. Yeah, I think that was, you know, that's, you know, definitely an eye opener for me, for sure, you know. But I know here lately, as I've, you know, watched, especially going down like Raycross and some of those routes, man, I thought, I was like, damn, it looks pretty dang good, actually.
Yeah, it's improved. And another thing that people have to realize is that it's only about half a dozen people at the most working on that. You know, it's not a lot. And art is a huge time sink and a huge money sink. You know, I look at the DCS aircraft, how long they're in development. Now, I know a lot of the inner workings of the DCS aircraft are, you know, just the programming side too.
For sure.
But the art side is a huge time and money sink. Like, you could spend weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks working on just the simplest of things, you know. It's not, you know, that's another aspect that you have to kind of look at. You know, money is time is money. You know, how many people do you have available to work on this stuff? Because I went to school for game art, believe it or not, and I've known people that like their entire pipeline might be just doing vegetation for games. Like, that's all they do. It's just trees and grass and bushes and stuff like that, you know. Like, it's crazy, you know, like how you can kind of like narrow it. Some people are just character artists, you know, all they do are characters and cloth simulation and stuff like that. You know, some people are just hard surface modelers. They do buildings and trucks and cars and, you know, things like that. So it gets pretty involved.
For sure. Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, again, you know, just, you know, being able to, you know, especially, you know, watching, you know, your platform and like, you know, pretty dang accurate, you know, just from what I can see, you know, train operations, man, it's definitely you know, definitely a you know, running definitely a sim that, you know, I don't think a lot of us, you know, really hear about often, but definitely something, you know, not to sleep on, for sure. So I think I'll be checking it out myself.
It's an outlier. It's absolutely an outlier. And it's like you said, you know, I think it is by far the most realistic train sim you can run.
Yep.
It runs more like what I remember my experience being like on a train than anything else that I've ever done.
How long has it been out, Train Sim World?
Train Sim World?
The first iteration, yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of convoluted how that game has evolved over the years. Because wasn't that Railworks at one time?
Yeah, I think it was Railworks, and then it
Yeah,
morphed into something else. Then more, and it's just this.
Then Dovetail got it or something.
Yeah,
they picked it up, and
that's when I first had it. Was when Dovetail bought it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's evolved a lot over the years. So
I'd never heard of Run 8 till I watched Spur.
I made it the same.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I was working on Run 8 back in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in 2012. I think that's when I started doing my first projects for Run 8. Were back in 2012.
Wow.
So it's been around for a long time, but it's like I said, it's an outlier.
Wow.
So like a lot of people are, that's the thing about gaming nowadays is that I think a lot of the younger generations, the first thing they see are the graphics.
100%.
Yeah.
2020 is so popular.
Yeah. The first thing they see are the graphics. They don't know what it's like to be like us. Like when I was playing Chuck
Atari.
Atari. Yeah. Or the first flight sim I had in 1987, Chuck Yeager's Advanced Flight Trainer, the ground was like a pink plane and it had pyramids that were mountains and
oh Lord, Flight Sim 98.
Yeah. So they don't know what it's like to play a game like that and actually enjoy the game for the substance of the game,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like one of the best games I ever played was Red Storm Rising back in 88. And it was pixel art, basically.
Yep.
Wow.
Pong.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, like for a game like Run 8, well, I sit here and say, well, that's the most realistic train simulator you can ever run, but how many people are really truly going to know that?
Exactly.
It's like saying an F-18 Hornet pilot saying, well, that F-18 in DCS is dead on. Well, I don't have anything to compare it by.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going off his word.
Going off his word, yeah.
Yep, spot on. No, I mean, I think you bring up some really, really good points, and guys out there, definitely check out Run 8. If you're interested in all and train operations, I mean, and check out some Spurs videos for sure. As far as the ins and outs, because Lord knows I learned a lot. I've been I think I remember messing with like Microsoft Train Simulator and all that, and
oh my gosh, bro! I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, like that's when I kind of got into it. I was like,
didn't it have a BNSF on the front of it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, on the front. Yeah,
man. Golly.
I played the Microsoft Train Simulator. That was the first one that I got one before that called Train Master. And it was literally a profile view. And it had a little bar, like a little brown bar that represented your train. And you would go up the hill and you would go down the hill. And you it was like pixel art too. There was nothing to that game. But yeah, I played that.
Wow. Spurs bringing it back, man. Lord, I feel, man, I feel you, Mr. Spur. I feel you. But no, I mean, and again, I think it's really cool, really, really cool to see that, there's so much variety in your content. And you're not the only one, Blue Game, shout out to Blue. There's also a lot of variety in this content as well. And, again, for folks who dabble in, who are interested in many different types of industry. I think those, I think you guys' channels are invaluable to the community. So definitely appreciate it and definitely appreciate your work, Spur, and Mrs. Spur for sure, because I know she's in the background. Keep you in line.
Yes.
So.
None of it would have been possible without her support. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And even like, I've said, well, there's a lot of ups and downs with YouTubing. There's been times where I'm like, man, I just, it wears on you after a while. And she's like, you enjoy doing this. You need to keep doing it. Keep doing, don't worry about all the other outside noise of analytics and all that stuff. Just do what you enjoy,
Absolutely.
And so she's kind of the definitely the driving force behind that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Too cool. Well, man, Spur, holy smokes, man. It's just been a phenomenal time speaking with you. And I don't want to take up, much of your time because I know I know tomorrow's Monday, and it's like, yeah, we're recording today. What's it today? I try to announce the date. The 26th of November. We're recording this. For those of our friends and family listening on the podcast platform. But aside from that, Spur, man, I want to give you the floor, my friend. Any closing thoughts for the audience?
It's been a crazy ride. Like, you went over my numbers at the start of the video, and it blows my mind. Like, I've got it's pushing 7,000 subs now. It's not huge in like the YouTube world, but it's big for me. It's huge. It's 7,000. Like, that's more.
Oh, yeah.
That's like double the people in the county I live in. And it literally blows my mind every day. Like, I post a video and someone leaves a comment, oh yeah, I love this video, I was looking forward to it, and it just literally blows my mind. I'm like, what, really? Like that? I don't know, maybe it's imposter complex or something, maybe that's a thing. But I'm
humility,
like,
man.
Yeah, I'm just so flattered that people actually watch. Like Johnny said, he watches my videos, a lot. It blows my mind every time someone says that. So basically, I just can't express like how eternally grateful I am for the support that I've gotten from everyone that's watched. It really does. It means a lot. And you guys having me on here, I've known y'all just about since the get-go. I really, really do appreciate it. Everyone tuning in.
I remember
and watching.
Spur, you were even at 500 subs. Yeah, I think.
Man, 200.
No, 200. Barely.
I know
200.
Mike could get done F&O, then we'd go watch Mr. and Mrs. Spur.
That's right. I would do the Friday night
painting the walls. What was that?
Right.
What was that?
Right.
House flipper.
House flipper.
House flipper. Yeah. House flipper. You're right. Yeah. She would do house flipper.
That's exactly right.
It's been a crazy ride. It really has. It really has.
No, too cool. But now, like I said, the pleasure is all ours, man. I tell you, that's out of so much, sorrow that happened during COVID, I would say, meeting all of y'all, it's definitely been blessing in my life for sure. And yeah, I totally lost my train of thought there after my little in the background. But aside from that, what do you got, Michael? Like you got some in your mind, brother?
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to do this, so definitely wanted to bring it up. And it's scrolling down there at the bottom. I think prior to our last show, or in between, I should say, our last show, it was announced travel discounts and logistics as it relates to Flight Sim Expo. Next year, Vegas, it'll come quick like it always does.
Man,
but June 21st is it's already 6 months away. And that's crazy because they announced this July or something like that. So it goes fast. So check out the FS Expo website. Check out Close Traffic Podcast website as well. All the details are there. But registration actually opens in December. It's just $50 for the 3-day event access, and then again, there's a bunch of deals and discounts for the Tropicana, as well as with airlines like Delta and Southwest. So go to fsexpo.com, closetrafficpodcast.com, get some details there. Hopefully, looking forward to seeing you all there as as well. But
are they giving us free casino chips?
For you, Charlie, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it. I'll be broke.
Who was that just won a crazy amount of money playing slots the other day? They won like double or triple digit millions or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
2 days before I got there, it was a shame.
There you go. I mean, I'm so broke. I might start walking now to get there.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Take Charlie anyway.
My man,
as the great Dusty Rhodes would say, "Time's hard, baby."
That's it.
Time's hard, baby.
That's why I'm trying to advertise these discounts, man. Pay attention.
Oh my gosh, man. Oh, Charlie says he's in a bind, but
man,
no, definitely want to give a shout out to our friends over at Extreme Flight Simulation. Probably one of the few I know that's offering just an amazing experience in a 737-800 full flight simulation system. So definitely check our friends out there. I also want to give a quick shout to our man Steve at High Performance Steve, and give him a quick shout out there. And aside from that, guys, I know we're about to be rolling into another new week, and just make sure you guys take care of yourselves and each other. Stay safe out there. Anything else, guys?
Oh, take the Navigraph survey.
Oh yeah. Gosh. Well, I think that's what's today's the last day, isn't it?
Is it? I just took it today.
Go take it.
Yeah, go take it.
Even if it's not even on the website, go take it.
Wait, what's the Navigraph survey?
So what they do is they ask a bunch of questions, as far as what sim are you flying. It just kind of helps project, the path flight sim's kind of moving towards. What kind of airplanes are you flying? Are you real world pilot? Are you thinking about training? It's just really interesting to see the numbers and stuff like that. So I think it's important. Yeah.
Yep. I just threw it in the chat as well for those of you that are here and on live. Like Charlie said, man, I think a lot of the things that we talk about, and we always end up getting into, well, which sim is better and what are people playing more. This is definitely a more real time sort of way to understand and sort of judge what the broader community is feeling as it relates to flight sim in general. And it goes deep, man. Every year they get more and more detailed, and the outlook is always promising.
And it's your voice to the developers is the way I look at it. Exactly.
Yep. Too cool. Well,
they got an earful from me. So
yep, absolutely. Yep, got an earful from old Charlie there. Old Census Charlie is what they call it.
Census Charlie. Oh, Father Time here.
Oh my Lord, man, we in this thing for a good time.
Man,
man. Guys, take care of yourselves and each other. See ya.